Hi, and welcome back. It is time to start canning what is in the freezer and eating our stocks because it's winter time. That's whenever you want to clean out the freezers, clean out your pantries, because growing season is around the corner. So let's get started. Now, we do have a winter storm coming tomorrow. I'm going to be making the deer chili and canning whatever is not eaten out of it. If Grandpa knew I was making deer chili today, it would be gone before it was finished. He likes deer chili. We're going to be using my sister's recipe to be able to see how that one works out. It has no beans in it. Whether you want a bean or not bean, that is completely up to you. Absolutely no one is judging. I do want to go ahead and want to show you what my sister got for me for my birthday. It's actually a German-made knife block from Zwillig. It's a lot better quality. I've already checked it out. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and wear out the Chinese stuff that I bought by mistake. Get that all nice and dull and ruined because it'll go quick. Then we're going to go ahead and break this out. So this is going into storage for now. It won't be forgotten. Trust me. We are going to go ahead and start with browning the deer meat and a little bit of fat that I rendered, along with some onions and some bell pepper, a little bit of spices, and then we'll add the rest of the ingredients in. Okay, I've got some bacon fat here. You can use any fat you want. Deer meat is very, very lean. You can also add half beef hamburger or pork, ground pork, if you want. We like to use just the deer, but we have to add a little bit of moisture to it. We have 1 onion diced. 1 green bell pepper diced. We're going to go ahead and halfway cook these and then add the meat and then get everything cooked through. Now, I did notice that the recipe that my sister gave me does not add garlic. It adds garlic powder, but it does not add garlic. So I am going to go ahead and alter that by putting a spoonful in here. You can even make this vegetarian chili if you wish. You can substitute mushrooms for the beef or the meat, but you should be able to convert this recipe very easily. And instead of beef bouillon, which the recipe calls for, you can use the vegetarian base. I've got the 2 pounds of ground of meat here that we set aside just to make chili. And we want to make sure everything is nice and brown. Now, while this is cooking, we do want to add some spices. We're going to be using 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, and a half a teaspoon salt. Reason why so little is because we're going to be adding more later on in the cooking process. Okay, it says 1 teaspoon of chili powder. I'm going to put, because I'm out of chili powder, I'm going to use the annatto in substitution. And a half a teaspoon of ground cumin. I'm going to mix this all in until thoroughly cooked. Now it does say, okay, so we are dumbing this down. The recipe that I have is for 10 pounds of meat. I'm only got 2, so we're doing this for 1/5 of the recipe that we have. It says 1 large can of diced tomatoes with juice, 1 can whole tomato, hand crushed and drained. This is a 1.5 pints of tomatoes that I put away. It is kind of like pureed. We are going to go ahead and get this put in here. Should be enough. There we go. If I need to add more, I will. But it doesn't look like I'm going to need more. Now the recipe calls for the diced green peppers to be added now. I kind of cooked them early. Alright, so another, say, half a teaspoon of pepper. One more teaspoon of salt. And then taste. Make sure that, because the tomatoes and salt, the tomatoes bring the saltiness out a little bit. So little bits at a time if you are salt sensitive. Another half tablespoon of cumin. It wants 2 tablespoons of chili powder. I am going to go ahead and use the annatto. It's a very mild chili, so I have no problems doing 2 tablespoons of that. But apparently this recipe wants to make sure that everybody gets blasted out of their mouths. It's supposed to be a warm chili, but, you know, spice. Okay, here we go with the half a teaspoon of garlic powder. Now we are going to add 1 tablespoon of, or I'm sorry, not 1 tablespoon. We are going to add 1 teaspoon of the chipotle chili powder. Here's where the major spice comes in. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and turn this down a little bit. At this point, you want to taste it, see if it's too spicy. Oh yeah, that's got spice. Alright, some bay leaves. We're going to add a little bit of tomato paste for a little bit more of a tomatoey feel, about 2 to 3 tablespoons here. I'm eyeballing it for this one because we're going to be adding water to this and letting it just sit and simmer for a while. Now, we do have optional oregano, which we are going to go ahead and add. It does have optional brown sugar. I am not going to add. It also says to use beef base. We're going to use vegetarian. One good scoop. Okay, make sure you stir everything in. Add a little bit of water. Just to cover. Barely cover. And you want this to simmer. Until done. Now, it'd be great if we were serving this right afterwards, but I do have a couple of jars that after we're done simmering, that it needs to be hidden in the jars and hidden in my pantry so I can actually have some later on, because like I said, once Grandpa finds out we're making this, it's gone. It will be disappeared in 3 seconds flat. So let's go ahead and just let this simmer. I'd say about 20-30 minutes on medium-low. Alright, so this is done. We're going to go ahead and fish out the bay leaves. They're here somewhere. And we're going to go ahead and put away about half of this because we're going to eat the rest for dinner. Tasting this, okay, because this is a different recipe from what I would make. This is the type of chili that you would put on Fritos for Frito pie. There is, you know, hot dogs, hamburgers, French fries, nachos. Even if you added beans to this, I'd still say the taste of it is a little bit more mealy, like the chili that you would put on a hot dog. It's not bad though. It's different, but it's not bad. Let's see if we can get this done before Grandpa gets home. He is out with friends. He has the day off today. See how many jars we can get. And how much of a mess we can make. So it wouldn't be Grandma's kitchen without a mess. Maybe one more? Ha, bay leaf. Found one. So that is about half. I'll go ahead and can these up. 75 minutes on your local pressure. Ours is 10. Wipe off the rims. Put on your lid. Finger tight. Put it in the canner. And there is nothing wrong with doing a small batch like this. You don't have to make a massive batch unless you're, canning for the year. I am canning, so I can actually grab some whenever I want some. Already building up a little bit of pressure. Clean up your mess. Wash your hands. And get going. Now I'm going to let those cool down a little bit because if I start canning now, there may be some crack. The jars may crack because cold water, hot jars do not mix. I'm going to let those cool down. Pressure can those for 75 minutes. So we have a small batch of chili and then we have dinner. All right, so that's it for this week's canning session. And hopefully it won't be so bad this upcoming week with the cold. We will see. As we all remember the spring of 2021. I do have some leftover pumpkin that I need to do something with. I made pumpkin custard for Christmas. I have the rest of the pumpkin that I processed. What I did was I took one of the jack-o'-lanterns and processed that down into puree. I have it in the freezer and I need to do something with it. I'm thinking pumpkin soup. And then canning that. So that might be next week. I'll go ahead and take a look to see what else we have as well to be able to can up and store and then eat our stores. Thank you for joining. Hope you enjoyed. And we'll see you next time.